What a pleasant surprise it was to hear from Kate informing me that KV and Chaco were trying to get in touch with me. KV, you are the first person from SJC that I have been in touch with since I left school. I can't believe that nearly 60 years have passed since we left SJC in December of 1966. After I left SJC, I spent 2 more years at school in Perth to round off my schooling and to prepare for university. I was then selected to join the Royal Australian Air Force to do aeronautical engineering and then pilot training. I spent just on 30 years in the Aussie Air Force and loved every minute of it. In that time, I managed to find myself in 3 wars, the first of which was the Vietnam War. You read the article about me and saw the pictures that Kate published on the front page of the Sydney Morning Herald, commemorating the 50th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War. That article led you and Chaco to track me down. I must say that my 9 years as a boarder at SJC gave me the skills to manoeuvre myself successfully in any combat environment and survive. I left the Aussie Air Force because BAE Systems, a British corporation, enticed me into their organisation. It was a hard decision to make because I was going to leave a nice and secure government environment and venture out into the cutthroat corporate world of which I knew nothing. But the remuneration convinced me that I should take the leap of faith, and I accepted a position as the General Manager of Military Flight Training. That leap of faith proved to be a canny one because I spent 6 terrific and successful years with BAE Systems before I again was enticed into another corporation, this time Lockheed Martin, an American corporation. I then spent 16 years with Lockheed Martin, again as the General Manager of Military Flight Training. I really loved my time with Lockheed Martin, but eventually decided to retire after well over 50 years in aeronautics. I then became a volunteer at an aircraft museum called Fighter World, located in Newcastle, New South Wales, which is not too far from where I live. My retirement did not last long because once again, in my life, the border Fighter World enticed me into the Fighter World business as the general manager. I then unretired myself, much to the dismay of my family. I still work at Fighter World and informed Tanya, my wife, that I would retire for good when she also retired. I live at Newcastle and have 4 adult children, 3 boys and 1 girl, none of whom joined the military. I'm also blessed to have 10 grandchildren, 6 girls and 4 boys. So that's my life in a nutshell, KV. I'm so glad that you reached out to Kate. I have been in touch with her and have thanked her on your behalf. In just a few months, I'll make sure that, like the prodigal son, I'll return and catch up with all you guys. Best wishes to all. I once had a posting to Malaysia some years back when I was still in the Air Force. A popular newspaper at the time in Malaysia was the Straits Times. It used to come up with some outstanding headlines on the front page. I remember this particular one. There was once a female teacher from an international school at Penang who was kidnapped. The Straits Times did not disappoint and came up with this slightly alarming headline on page 1, all in uppercase. Police probe teachers snatch. Happily, the teacher turned up in a couple of days, none the worse for wear after spending an unplanned few days with her visiting boyfriend. Sadly for the stalwart upholders of law and order, there was no snatch to probe. All those clever headlines at the Straits Times made me wonder whether the editor-in-chief of that newspaper was a graduate of SJC, who perhaps attended Brother Burke's English classes. Maybe he was our colleague, Tony Chu-Peng-Hu. I also got to wonder whether the editor-in-chief used his Renan Martin not only to shield his backside from the benders that were liberally dished out at school, or whether he used his Renan Martin to become an expert in innuendo and the double entendre. Michael signing off once again.